708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. I suppose every generation has their Pauly Shore. And I guess, I don't know, is Gen Z's Pauly Shore Theo Vaughn, the comedian podcaster? I mean, he's actually not that much younger than me, but, I don't really have exposure to him other than he's gotten some political people on his podcast, and occasionally something is said that will make it into the content arenas in which I am located. He's very difficult to listen to, because he's, I don't know, I don't find him very funny, and he's not particularly knowledgeable, but he's weighing in on all of the socio-political, socio-economic issues of the day, including data centers, and I guess his podcast does relatively well, so he has an audience, so unfortunately we're compelled to respond to people that have an audience, no matter how ill-informed they are. Theo Vaughn on data centers, something I never thought I would have to say.
We don't want any data, bro. Nobody wants a data center, dude. Nobody wants it. And the people that want them, to me, bro, they seem kind of evil. It's like, what's going to happen? You fall down and you get a bunch of loose data flies out of the factory or something now, and your kid's got, he's got 5 episodes of Dutton Ranch or whatever stuck in his neck or something. It's gotten crazy. We don't want it. Nobody wants the shit. And so here's what I think. I really believe this. I think I really believe it. I don't know, but I believed it yesterday. I believe that some people know how to live forever. They've cracked the code. And so suddenly they have to put the rest of us, they have to lock us down. They have to. Because if everybody finds out about it, then everybody's going to be able to do it, right? There's got to be some people have to separate themselves. And I think this is how they're doing it. They're creating these data centers. I believe, this is my hypothesis, theory, that it's all going to be locked in with these flock cameras, or some company like this, Palantir. One of these companies is going to be owning all of this information. They're going to put it all in. We're all going to be locked down. Everybody, you're not going to be able to live.
So you get a sense of the black helicopters that are circling overhead. Theo Vaughn may be a bit on the extreme side of it, but there's a lot of misinformation being distributed about data centers. And starting with the impact they'll have on John Q. Public and his energy bills. There's new research out from academics from MIT and Yale. Have data centers raised your electric bill? They looked at electric bills nationally from 2015 to 2024. And data centers actually modestly lowered electric bills nationally. The argument or the supposition is because big fixed grid costs get spread over more kilowatt hours, and the new demand can unlock economies of scale. You also have innovation going on there, and independence. We've talked about this before, independence from the grid. Bloomberg story out this week. Chevron signed a 20-year lease deal with Microsoft to provide natural gas-fired power for a proposed West Texas data center, which could be one of the biggest in the U.S. The project's going to generate its own power, meaning, as per Greg Abbott's requirement, it will not draw from the grid or involve a local utility. Meanwhile, again, in the tech sector, it's sort of an innovative sector, things aren't static. NVIDIA may have just solved the data center water water waste. Jordan Schachtel pointing to a development there. Their new liquid cool AI factories use closed loop systems plus dry coolers to drop water consumption by up to 100% versus traditional cooling. It's a near zero facility water use. So there are definitely concerns about the AI revolution, and we've poured over many of them on the show, and we'll continue to do so. It requires a lot of thinking and discussion. But in terms of like the data centers being the doom center of all of this, that seems a bit, shall I say, overheated. Allum Bokhari is managing director of the Foundation for Freedom Online. He's also the author of the book Deleted, #Deleted, Big Tech's Battle to Erase the Trump Movement and Subvert Democracy. Yeah, it's difficult to rally to the defense of big tech sometimes, much of the time. Allum Bokhari, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning, Dan. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's a little bit odd, my current position, because I spent most of my career criticizing big tech for interfering in elections, for censoring political content, which they still do often under pressure, especially from foreign governments. But I find myself increasingly defending big tech from some of the wild claims that are being made.
Yes,
especially about data centers.
There's some people who figured out how to live forever, and the data centers are somehow an enslavement mechanism, so that we don't find out about these people who are not only our superiors but are immortals. How about that?
Yes, and there's this general sense that the Silicon Valley and Palantir especially, for some reason, has become the object of paranoia. That there's this grand conspiracy to control us all. I think there are people who want to control us all, but those are mostly state governments and people who write hate speech laws in the European Union. They do want to control their populaces, but they also hate the tech companies because the tech companies are no longer cooperating with their censorship directives.
The interesting you bring up Palantir too, and the recently in the crosshairs. Well, because Alex Karp, two problems with Alex Karp. For many of these neo-Luddites. One is that he's Jewish, and two is that he has sort of broken ranks from the big tech political orthodoxy and embraced a lot of the things that Trump and Trump administration have done, and so that is verboten in certain quarters, like frankly, the politicians we heard yesterday in New York who were victorious railing against the tech oligarchs and so forth.
Yes, and this is the hidden story, which I think maybe people like Theo Von don't realize, which is that Silicon Valley did go through a significant shift in 2024 and 2025, where they pulled away from the progressive that they have been supporting for a long time. They unbanned many users. This is all led by Elon Musk as well, but Alex Karp is another example of someone who's explicitly rejected progressive orthodoxy, and that is a political gamble that they took to align themselves with the Trump administration, to align themselves with Republicans, and to oppose some of the progressive politicians who had actually been going after them for a long time because they believe that big tech has undermined their political power, their power over news narratives and information flows. So now you have this global progressive blob that sees the entire tech industry as the enemy, in the same way that they once declared the oil industry to be the enemy. And that is actually, I think, the hidden factor fueling this behind this massive shift in sentiment against big tech, because it's sort of like the alliance that once existed between progressive politicians and crazy environmental activists who would also speak of the energy industry in these apocalyptic terms, these end-of-the-world terms. And I think that's what's going on here with data centers now.
Yeah, that eco-terrorist Andreas Malm, who wrote the book How to Blow Up a Pipeline, I'm looking forward to his next offering, How to Blow Up a Data Center, right? This is what the group, the individuals that we're talking about that are cultists, basically, around a particular issue or a particular alleged boogeyman. I mean, they're not averse to using violence, as we see over and over again. The political left is not many on the political left see violence as a legitimate means to political ends. That's the problem.
Yeah, and this has become a trend. So I just wrote an article for The Spectator on anti-tech terrorism, which is really not an exaggeration. I want to avoid, people are too quick to throw around words like extremism and say there's a terrorist threat, but there've been a string of, actually violent incidents against the AI industry. There was a councilman in Indiana who had his home shot at because he supported a data center in his local area. There was a AI doomsday cult called the Zizians. You can Google them. They've been responsible for 6 murders. There were all the firebombing attacks against Tesla stores, motivated obviously by left-wing anger against Elon Musk and his alliance with the Trump administration. And then Sam Altman, who's frankly not my favorite tech oligarch,
No.
very left-wing, but he was targeted. His home was targeted with a Molotov cocktail by someone who had a manifesto saying he wanted to kill AI CEOs. So this is actually becoming a trend.
Yeah, well, and the idea that the left would cannibalize some of their own if they become inconvenient, that certainly is not novel, and should be unsurprising to to people who pay attention.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But it's also not just the left, as I don't think Thea Von is really a leftist.
No.
So this is like cutting across political boundaries. But I think it's important that especially people who are not on the left understand the political element. Part of the reason why there's all this animosity against tech is because they stopped censoring people, because they stopped engaging in political interference on behalf of left-wing globalist governments.
Yes, and some of the other recent reporting is that something the left should understand. Maybe they embrace. I don't know. It'd be interesting how they would process this, but that the Chinese Communist Party and other foreign adversaries are fueling campaigns to oppose data centers in the United States. So maybe there's sort of an element maybe too of just astroturfing on the left going on because they're getting paid by Naval Singham or their other communist overlords.
Yeah, and that's another thing where I want to be careful there, because obviously it's very easy to say people are the stooges of a foreign government. We saw that with Russiagate. I want to see want to wait for more evidence there. But I can certainly see how it's in the interest of the Chinese state to do this, because they're the second competitor to America in terms of the AI industry, and whoever controls the AI industry and leads in it is going to control the economies of the future and the militaries of the future. This is really probably the only advantage that America has over China, at the industrial level. So that's obviously very, very important for the Chinese.
Allum Bokhari, Managing Director of the Foundation for Freedom Online and author of the book #Deleted, Big Tech's Battle to Erase the Trump Movement and Subvert Democracy. Allum Bokhari, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
And you join us on the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere.